The Minnesota Vikings had a very interesting offseason at the edge rusher position. They said deuces to Zadarius Smith. They signed Marcus Davenport, the former first rounder, as a free agent, and now they're having another contract embargo with Danielle Hunter. Will they trade him? Will they extend him? Don't really know at this point. And the Vikings were bereft of draft picks coming into the draft. They did not spend one on an edge rusher, but they did pay up significantly for UDFA Andre Carter II coming out of Army, so much so that he was one of the highest paid UDFA players in recent history, getting a $300 base salary guarantee as well as a $40K sign-in bonus. So the Vikings made a very significant commitment to the former West Point cadet, and I think that the Vikings obviously see the potential. Before last season, he was potentially seen as a day 2, maybe even first round pick. So obviously, teams do think highly of him, just not in the draft last year. But I think with the right coaching, with Smitty and Brian Flores, I think that they could get the most out of Andre Carter II. So let's talk about him today. Background: 22 years young, 6'7", 256. Originally from Houston, Texas. Entered the United States Military Academy at West Point, and then junior season busted on the scene in 2021. 15 and a half sacks, which is an Army record, as well as was second in FBS. 44 tackles, 18 and a half tackles for loss, 1 interception, 4 forced fumbles, 59 pressures. Was just absolutely dynamite and ridiculous getting after it, man. So that's why he was seen, given his size, given his bend, given his potential, given his production in 2021. He was seen as a potential day 1, day 2 selection. But then 2022 happened, and injuries, did miss 2 games, and teams sold out to stop him. And he ended up with only 3.5 sacks. 2.5 of those sacks were against one team, University of Texas San Antonio, which is ironically where Marcus Davenport went to college, as well as David Morgan too, by the way. Shout out. But he did rack up 23 pressures. It just was not a good senior season, and it definitely impacted his draft status. He did not stand out well at the Senior Bowl, certainly an impact. Did not test well at the Combine, so that's 1, 2, 3, un, deux, trois. One of the reasons why. That was really the trifecta of why he ultimately went undrafted. And Lance Zierlein, NFL.com, did up his draft analysis projection of around 5 to 6 player. Overview: long and rangy, Carter is currently best suited as a 3-4 rush linebacker on passing downs. The Vikings play that. But is likely to develop into an every down player with additional growth both physically and technically. Carter needs to play with more skilled hands and inject a little more glass into his on-field diet in order to meet force with force. When the run game comes downhill at him, his explosive get-off and natural bend agility at the top of the rush are enough to create early opportunities for himself as a quarterback hunter. Carter might need a longer runway to meet his potential, but if he does his pass rush homework, he could take a substantial leap forward as an odd or even front edge rusher by year 3. And the Vikings may need him sooner rather than later, because looking at the edge rusher depth chart without Danielle Hunter. Now, I fully expect them to work something out with Danielle Hunter. I think that he will be in purple at least this year. I am all for extending Hunter long term, but we'll see what happens. But you do have Davenport, you got Jones, you got Wanham, you got Villain, and then you got Carter II. And he does need to add size. He's 256, but he's a little bit lean given that he's 6'7", as well as has a huge wingspan. Does need some technique refinement. And, he got a lot of things done with natural ability at Army. So he just is this raw ball of clay that Smitty and Flores, I believe, can mold into an elite edge rusher. But given the fact that he did have a sizable sign-in bonus as a UDFA, I think that he's probably going to be a lock to make the roster. But the question is, will he get into the rotation? Now, if Danielle Hunter is here, that obviously impedes things, but I think that Flores will find a way to get as many quarterback hunters on the field as possible, pun intended. And I do think that Carter can be one of those guys that gets in, especially on early passing down on passing down work. And Davenport, you just look at the future. Who knows what's going to happen with Danielle long term? Davenport's here on a 1-year deal. Wanham is in a contract year. Patrick Jones II is heading into year 3. Villain is a UDFA from last year. So, the path to future playing time is wide open beyond this season, and I think that he will have an opportunity to show out in training camp as well as preseason, and I think that he does have the tools to do it. Where is he a guy that's going to be an every down player right away? No, but is he a guy that can play 10, 12, 15 snaps a game in passing downs and go just with the clear defined role of go get the quarterback? Yes. I think that he can do that while learning and developing on the fly and adding good size as well as refining his technique. I think that Carter II has a chance to be a legitimate stud on the Vikings defense long term. But that's it. Your thoughts are our thoughts. Will Andre Carter II be an early edge contributor for the Vikings this year? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.